All right, folks, it's Tuesday, 6 o'clock PST. You got me, you got Dusty. We're about to make this thing happen, folks. But before we do what we do, I got to give it to you the way I do every week, y'all. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve After Dark to concerts in the park. You're live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop. My sidekick, my right-hand man, Vice President of all things N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. My man, Dusty Vision, already here, warmed up and in the dugout. Here we go. What up, Dusty?
Lonzo, my man. How you doing, Playboy?
Man, you know what? It's one of them melancholy days. I had to. We went to a funeral for one of my good friends. She's surprised. She just unexpectedly died on us, man, and just messed a lot of people up. She had an aneurysm, didn't know it. Bam, no signs, no symptoms, just gone. And another buddy of mine who's been incapacitated due to a stroke for the past 6 weeks called me today, man. I spoke to him for my partner for the first time in 6 weeks. That's a good thing for me, dude. So it is what it is, man.
Hang in there, Playboy. Hang in there. There's days like this, man. Let's try to make it a good hour at least.
All right.
You know what I mean? Take us away from the madness, man. We'll take a little trip to the niggaverse as always.
All right.
You know, but what I want to do later on is I want to talk a little bit more about the documentary. And if you guys haven't checked it out, we're still going to promote this thing like crazy. Amazon Prime, Alonzo's Eve After Dark documentary for the very low price of $1.99. You can watch it right now. We're going to be talking a little bit more about some parts in the documentary that I found interesting that I would love for you to comment on. But before we do that, let's take a ride to the niggaverse, my man.
Hold on. I got something for that.
Oh, go for it.
Dressel drone, time for this one to come home.
All right, what you got?
Yeah, buddy. All right, man. Biggest story probably this week in hip hop, and it's an unfortunate story. Popular rapper Yo Gotti, his brother Big Jug, was killed in Memphis at a funeral, right after a funeral. They had just left a funeral. He was in his car. Car pulls up. Boom, 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 boom. Now, to give you and everybody a kind of a back history, a couple of years back, we talked about this extensively. Young Dolph, who was a very popular Memphis rapper, he was killed in a cookie shop. He had a big armored vehicle outside, went into the cookie shop. They started busting into the cookie shop. He dies. Well, a lot of people are saying that this is revenge for Young Dolph's killing just a couple of years ago. Now, to give everybody kind of a more update before I get your opinion, Lonzo, after Young Dolph was shot a couple of years back, Big Jook, who was the person who was just killed this week, went online, started taunting the dead, disrespecting the victim, Young Dolph. Black Youngsta, who is Yo Gotti's artist, did a music video disrespecting Young Dolph's grave. So like I said, a lot of people are saying this Big Jook situation is revenge for that. Now, my thing is, Lonzo, and this is what I would really love your opinion on. These men are in their 30s, damn near 40s, man. I'm not saying that these are the ones going back shooting each other, but at least the ones that are dying, they're in their 30s, damn near 40s. I mean, you would think they would have left this a long time ago, man. Talk to me about what.
No, they can't leave it alone. They don't know nothing else, dude. They don't know nothing else. They've been doing this so long, and this is all they see themselves ever doing. They can't elevate. They can't migrate. They can't do anything else other than this, dude. And the internet is the platform that gives makes everybody a hero, makes everybody a news reporter, makes anybody with an ass and titty can be a supermodel on the internet, okay? And they need that kind of controversy to stay relevant. And when you get caught up in that whirlpool of needing to be relevant, this is the kind of things that happen, man. You can't just say rest in peace, Doc. You got to go and clown the man. And that man got family, he got friends, he got loved ones that ain't gonna take it. Fans that ain't gonna take it, dude. I tell you about the story with me and N.W.A. I played No Vaseline in my club, and the dude got mad at me because I played No Vaseline. He didn't know N.W.A., but he's just a fan and got pissed off. So imagine somebody just desecrating somebody's image or just making a mockery of their past, especially when they was murdered, and you probably know who did it, and you make a record about it. Come on, man. disrespecting record. This is a generation. This is one thing about this generation I found to be very interesting. For a generation that is so high on respect, they are the most disrespectful people in the world. I have never seen a generation so disrespectful in my life, man. I got to go to this story in Compton. They stealing people's headstones, maybe the grave markers for the brass, man.
Dog, I heard that.
Huh? Yeah.
I heard that.
I know the lady, I've interviewed the lady. She bought the cemetery so she can fix it up. And some degenerate assholes knocked over the graves, stole the grave, because usually if there's no headstone, they'll put a grave marker in the ground. That's made out of brass. Okay. And that way it won't corrode anything like that. And these fools knocked over the grave headstones, dug up headstones, and stole the grave markers to sell them for the brass. Not only did they do it to hers, they crossed the street to the other cemetery and did the same thing yesterday.
They did it at the Downey Cemetery last week.
Oh man, that's a special kind of low life, man. See, that's the kind of person they catch them doing that right there. I ain't got nothing for them. Whatever happens, dude, you on your own. You on your own. I don't want you crying. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Oh, my mama left me. My daddy left me when I was a kid. I didn't get a G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. I can't read. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Some shit you don't do. Some shit you don't do, man. And steal from a graveyard, you don't do that, man. You don't do that. You don't do that. Ain't nothing you can say that can justify that. But same kind of thing here, man. The disrespect that this generation has become comfortable with, and they make it popular, and they laugh at the people. Now, here's the crazy part: the people that saw that video was ooh and ah and laughing and made comments on the video, but now homeboy dead. They make ooh and ah and comment on him as well. And somebody gonna clown, and it's a vicious cycle. It should not be allowed on the internet, man. Anything like that should not be allowed on the internet. But because it's content, and the internet is thirsty for content, it will always be allowed until somebody stands up and says something different.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Before we move on, Lonzo, I want to tell us that story again about the dude asking you politely, I put politely in quotes, obviously, to not play No Vaseline in the club.
I'm in my club, Current Affair, and I'm the main DJ. I'm partying. We having a good time. Got a full house, man. Low Vaseline, it may be along be one of the best diss records. It's a damn good dance record because it's built on Daz, the song Daz by Brick. And I'm sitting there, I'm playing the record, everybody partying. All of a sudden, I feel something behind me, but people always behind me, but jamming or whatever. I looked around. I look back at him. I'm like, man, hold on. Record's still playing. Now he gets gets over here. I said, man, what's happening? Man, take that shit off. What? I'm playing dumb now. What? That record. They dissing my homeboys. Huh? So the record is still playing. Me and him have this is what homeboys. Oh, man, just enjoyed N.W.A. I said, do you know him? Nah, man, that's just my homeboys. Record's still playing. So by the time we have a conversation, the record that went through its little cycle or whatever, I'm finna fade it anyway. Yeah, right on, man. Fuck them niggas. I said, man, you don't even know these people. Why are you tripping? Man, I'm a fan. You know how it is. I just don't feel like my just my people. And he was ignorant as hell. One of them cats that was very ignorant. It could have been a problem. Yes.
Crazy how people take stuff personal, and he probably didn't even know them like that.
He didn't know them like that, man. And this is the part that people like P. Diddy, Trump, a lot of people have these fanatics. See, the word fan is from fanatic, okay? It's a derivative of the word fanatic. So when you're fanatic about something, that means you have a certain kind of love for it, a special place in your heart for this situation right here. And in some cases, it can cause people to react and do things that they normally wouldn't do because they love this particular thing so much. And our former president is one of those people that he had fanatics about him, and they feel a certain way about him. And they willing to go to war or do different things in support of him. And that's amazing, man. And here's another issue people don't realize. When you have hood fanatics, now you got youngsters in hoods that are fanatical about their hood. And there is a law on the books. If a OG can pump up some youngsters to go do some work, the youngsters and the OG go to the penitentiary. Are you aware of that? Ain't nobody got to tell you do nothing. They tried it back in the day with Tupac. Because somebody was playing Tupac's music and did a drive-by. They tried to inadvertently leak Tupac to that situation based on that same law. So you can actually pump up people so high to get them to go do something. That's pretty much the basis of one of Trump's cases right now. He pumped up his base so hard, they ran up in the Capitol trying to overthrow the election allegedly. Okay, let's put that out there. But we all know what's happening. So yeah, Doc, it's the same mindset. People get so in love with something they don't want to have done. They don't want to see nobody say anything against it.
Yeah. And fan, don't get it twisted, people. Fan can also be a bad thing. They could also hate you and still be a fan. You ever see that Wesley Snipes movie, The Fan from the 90s? That was a great
kidnapped his kid
movie. Some of my biggest fans hate me. Yeah.
You know what? See, you got to have a couple of haters. Haters is the new jewelry, okay? Haters is the new chain. It's the new diamond ring. It's the new Bentley, okay? If you got the right amount of haters, it's a status symbol. If you're doing if you ain't got no haters, you come on, man. You ain't doing something. I got a couple of haters. I got a couple of them. Okay?
Oh yeah, oh sure.
I welcome them. I love them. I like to piss them off too by doing more shit. Anyway, go ahead, Doc.
Same here. Shout out. Let's read a couple comments. Shout out to OG Steve earlier. He said, Dusty, there are street dudes who go through a mid to late 30s identity crisis that started acting the same way they did when they were 15 and reckless. Yeah. I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
Chuck D.
Art Chavez. Oh, go ahead.
Chuck D talked about this whole mindset of a lot of guys who are in their 30s and damn near 40s. They call it like for lack of a better word, a retarded maturity. And they want to hold on to their immaturity so long that they don't want to develop. And they make babies, they do all kind of stuff, but they still want to do the same thing they did when they were kids. And at some point in time, you got to migrate from that, dude, and go on and get your man draws on. Put your big boy draws on and, do your thing and figure it out for yourself. Everybody else did.
Yep. Let's move on to the next story, Lonzo. Now, I know we mentioned we're going to stay in the niggaverse for a little while, and this is probably the queen of the niggaverse right now. I'm going to go ahead and give her her crown, put it on her imaginary head. Let me give one to the little baby on her belly. I know we mentioned Sexy Red a lot, but parents today, and I use the term parents loosely, never cease to amaze me, Lonzo. We talked about last week where the kids were dancing in the class, shake that ass for Drake, shake that ass for me, make your coochie breathe. Well, the mother went viral this past week for playing a Sexy Red song, F My Baby Daddy. We all know what F means. F My Baby Daddy. In front of her baby daddy while her kids sang along right next to her. Is this generation doomed, dog?
They got problems, man. I didn't see that one, Doc. That's disturbing, dude. That's very disturbing. You got your kids, you and your kids have created a fuck the baby daddy choir, okay, in front of the baby daddy. Dude, that's some low life stuff right there, man. That's low life, man. He may not be the best daddy in the world, but any man that look at his kids in the face and say that, it got to touch that dude, man. That got to hurt. It got to hit that dude. Your mom, your kids.
For real, that would hurt me.
Dude, that's one thing for your baby mama, because kid, guys and girls, baby mama, baby daddies, they always see things differently. Okay, been happening since the beginning of time. But when your kids are singing a song too, come on, man. And your mama's encouraging you to sing some shit like that, dude. That dude gonna need therapy. He gonna need to sound talk to somebody. I wish I could get him on this podcast. I wish I can get him on the show. I know he got something to talk about. But what kind of woman would do that, man? Just again, that's the internet. She gonna go viral for that, man. She gonna get some plays, get some likes, some views, good comments. And one thing I learned about the internet before we started doing our show, I took a internet class, okay, and they talked about how no matter what, it could be a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a comment, or whatever the case may be, is all part of the algorithm. It's all plus. It's all a plus. There's no negative. There's no negative in the algorithm department. So anything you do to get some reaction out of people, that means somebody took time to click, whether it be a thumbs up, thumbs down, or type in a comment. And they use that as information or data to move sponsors, to promote the sponsors. So all that, and that's the problem with the internet. There's no reward for being good. There's no detriment for being negative. It's all the same algorithms. It's just that once you get to a certain point, and you can make and most people, I hate to say this, a lot of people don't have the wherewithal to create any really good content in some cases. So they have to go for the gut bucket. They got to go for the slime life to make it work for them. And a lot of people dwell in that low life situation so that they can, be relevant on the internet.
Yeah. It's the new drug. And it's, I bet if they did some sort of psychological test, there's endorphins and things like that are connected when you see likes and views and things like that.
Yeah, it does trigger endorphins. It's a scientific fact. I've part of my class, they talked about that. People get addicted to the attention they get from their family, friends, and people who follow them, and they do what they do to keep that those endorphins flying, man.
Damn, dude. I have another story, Lonzo, that I've been wanting to talk with you about for a couple of weeks now. Excuse me, but we always have so much to talk about, so I put it on the back burner. But this is definitely one I want to chat about this week. A few weeks back, a very popular rapper named Jay Fizzle, never heard of him until he was on No Jumper. He was interviewed recently, and he explained that he has 20 kids, and he is 29 years old, 14 baby mamas. And I put the term baby mama in quotes because we're in the niggaverse. I don't use the term in my real life, but for satire, I will use it all the time. 20 kids at the age of 29 with 14 baby mamas. I'm going to just play a clip of Jay Fizzle on No Jumper talking about responding to having 20 kids at 29 years old.
When you first have the kid, it's just like, oh no, it's a constant emergency of like something. You're not gonna live unless I'm on top of whatever you're doing at all times.
They how it is. That's why I be telling the mama, man, we had the babies, man. You hear me? Bring it to me when they learn how to walk.
First of all, real quick, I have to take a sense of pride and say that my number one thing that I'm proud of in life, Lonzo, is that my son does not talk like this.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck he just said. Basically, I think let's take that back real quick to see what Jay Fizzle said about it.
I thought it was
no, my nigga, that was let's take that back and see if we can hear what Jay Fizzle has to say.
That's how it is. That's why I be telling the mama, man, we had the babies, man. You hear me? Bring it to me when they learn how to walk.
Okay, so what I did decipher that, because I do speak niggaverse. He said, I tell the mamas, I don't bother with the babies when they're young. I tell their mamas to bring them to me when they're ready to walk.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
Right? Is that what you got? Okay, let's try to decide. Yeah, hold on.
So you don't like to spend too much time with them before that?
I be busy. I'm gonna get the money right there. You hear me, John? Holler at me when they can walk. Cause if they can't walk, I can't do nothing with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So he probably got a bunch of women right now taking care of like 1 and 2 year olds right now. And if they can't walk, he don't want to talk. I don't know. Talk to me, dog. Jay Fizzle, 20 kids, 29 years old, 14 baby mamas.
You know, I want to see what this dude look like. Or better still,
he looks what you imagine. He looks like Kodak Black's tall, skinny, scarecrow-looking friend.
I want to see what he fucking. That's what I want to see. Okay, he got to be going to the bottom of the barrel, man. And see, he got scraping the bottom of the barrel. You don't want to sound like you better than, but people are different. That's people. Ain't nobody better, but people are different. That's for damn sure. Can't take that away from nobody. You may not be better, but you damn sure different. And I wonder if it's a status to have babies by him, or you think he's gonna blow up. They think he's gonna be the next Nick Cannon or something. Nick only got 12, but Nick got money to take care of everybody. I wonder how much of that, how many of them kids are he paying? Is he paying for?
Or spending time with? How do you
that possible?
Divide your time amongst 20 kids?
Again, he just he sounded. I read an article. I mean, I saw a post the other day about how they had these guys back in the slave days. They were just, their whole job was just to mate and have new babies, and some people just mate and have babies just to feed the prison industrial complex. Because he can't be a father to 20 kids. It's hard enough to be a decent father to 3 or 5. I got 5. And it's hard to, and only reason why, one of the reasons why it's easier for me, all my kids in different generations. They're not all the same age. Okay. I got kids, grown kids. Most of my kids are grown, and they're all in different levels of adulthood. My oldest daughter, she's older than you. My son, my son and my other daughter, they're younger. My other daughter just got out of college. My other son going to college. So everybody grown, but everybody is in a different stage in adulthood. So I'm not trying to change no diapers. I ain't teach nobody how to walk. I ain't got to teach nobody how to do the basics. I got to help them get through life. Okay. And the older ones are good enough to even help me with the younger ones. So, but when everybody trying to walk, I mean, they still can't be carrying a loaded diaper. Just because they're walking don't mean the diaper ain't loaded. Okay. Oh man, dude, that's ridiculous, man. That don't make no sense. Yeah, but again,
what about that theory? Yeah, go ahead.
People do this kind of stuff again to be on no jumper. If he wants to be. It's again the internet, and that's his lane now. He got more kids. I got more kids than Nick Cannon do. That's his lane now. He ain't got more money than Nick, but he got more babies than Nick. And in 18 years from now, let's see what them babies are. Where they gonna be? That's the problem, man. That's one of the problems. It's really difficult to father them. I'm sorry. It's easy to father the kids. It's hard to be a daddy. Anybody can be a father. It's hard to be a dad. That's real talk.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and then it was almost like I was paying attention to this story, and then Hassan Campbell, a very popular YouTuber, was on Vlad TV not too long ago, and he blurted out, and everybody just kind of overlooked it, but he blurted out that he has 15 kids. Going back to the slave thing, Lonzo, is that kind of something that? And I don't know. Talk to me about, because I see that a lot, dog. Even in my personal life, I know people who should not be having 7 kids, and they got 7 motherfucking kids. I got 1 kid because that's all I could afford.
If you see again, there's a system behind this. Okay, some folks have know the system so well. They know they're gonna get X amount of services from the county, X amount of services from Crystal Stairs. They got different programs that can subsidize a lifestyle till the kid turn 18. And so a lot of cases, not all, I will never say all, but a lot of cases, that's the incentive. You ain't got to go to work. You get to, take care of your kids. You get Section 8. You get this. You get this. You get this benefit, that benefit. And if he ever hit it, is he supposed to be a rapper or something?
Jay Fizzle is a rapper. Hassan Campbell's a popular YouTuber. Yep.
Okay, so if he ever get a hit, okay, he won't get no money. His royalty checks is going to be a figment of imagination. He won't see none of that shit. But a lot of women are banking on that, so they can get him on child support, and that's on him. I wouldn't feel nothing if it happened to him, because that's you played yourself. You played yourself. That's as simple as that, Doc.
This is where we get in trouble. Yeah. What about, like you said earlier, we mentioned the woman.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned the woman. Like who's the 19th chick that he's like, yeah, I got 19 baby mamas, but you gonna let me put inside you with no condom? All right, go ahead. Like, who was that 20th chick? Like, we got to put a lot of blame on the women too, right? Like, with the fear of getting canceled.
He ain't got no rape cases. All that's volunteer. Somebody did the wishbone voluntarily, opened it up, let him have it, and maybe he was a hell of a rapper. I don't know. Maybe they banking on him to hit it big. And man, people do stuff like that, Doc. Well, think about this. It's a no lose for the girl. Let's keep it 100. It's a no loss. Okay. She get a baby by him, and there's, like I said before, there's certain services she's gonna be entitled to. Okay, man, ain't gonna be a lot of money, but if you ain't got none, a little bit could be a whole lot. If he hits it big, they can go after him for back child support. He might not never see a dime of his money, but they'll get their money. And in some cases, a lot of people, some women, use them kids as annuities. They good for 18 years, baby. 18 years of services from various government organizations. And if daddy get hit a lick, shit, I get my money from him too. It's a win-win.
Man,
where's he from?
Win-win, dude.
Where's he from?
He, I believe he's from Memphis, Tennessee. Jay Fizzle is from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay. I ain't gonna talk about Memphis, Tennessee, but we know sometimes they're not that high on the education scale. Some areas
pretty close to the South. We'll just say that, or it's technically the South. So
education scale. So it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, almost halfway through the show. I'm going to send a shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for joining the show. You are tuned into Not Without Alonzo, N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. I am Dusty Vision. That is the godfather of West Coast hip hop, Alonzo Williams. If you are new to the show and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. If you're feeling a little generous, we have a $sign right at the bottom of the chat. Shoot us a few bucks if you appreciate the content. And please go to Amazon Prime. Alonzo's documentary was just released a couple of weeks ago. It's $1.99. Eve After Dark. Type in Eve After Dark, especially if you love West Coast hip hop like I love West Coast hip hop and history. Definitely check it out. And hit that like button before we continue. Now, Lonzo, I did watch the documentary last week. I bought it, so I'm sure I'll watch it again, just from a hip hop point of view. And I want to talk about a few things from the documentary, and we're gonna only give away a little bit. There's so much in it, so I don't want anyone thinking, oh, I'm gonna get all of it tonight. Why even check out the documentary? We're just gonna talk about a few different things that I would like to hear your stories on, even though we may have already talked about it in the past. Now, talk to us about when disco died.
That was an interesting.
I'm gonna go use the restroom. I'll be right back. Do your thing.
When disco died, that was a very interesting time, especially for me. I named myself after disco. Disco Lonzo was my first DJ name. Disco was the hottest thing going in 1975, 76, maybe up to about 77, maybe even 78. It was a hot era. Came out of New York. It was the shit. It came complete with a fashion style. It came complete with dances. It came complete with its own drug. Cocaine became the popular drug of the disco era. It's been around for decades, but the disco era made cocaine really hot. But one thing about the disco era, and this is my personal take, is that it was all about dancing. It was all about dancing. I see you, OG Steve. Much love to you, Doc. Disco era was all about dancing, and women love to dance. Most men don't too much care for dancing. Okay, white women love to dance. Some of them don't do it that well. Some of them do it fantastic, but they love to dance. And even if they can't do it that good, get a couple of shots of Jägermeister. Shit, they going to the dance floor. And I remember a few times I'm doing my disco Lonzo thing at a couple of events. It was, multiracial. And the brothers was flinging them white girls around the dance floor. They was having a good time. And, brother can do all that shit, doing that Saturday Night Fever shit. Brothers is doing a little pop, little locking. And they doing their dancing because all the stuff is right around the same time. And all of a sudden, I declare blue sky, disco sucks. Disco sucks. And you start seeing the bumper stickers. You start seeing the sign, T-shirts, all kind of stuff. And in a matter of seconds, disco died. And I credit that to the fact that white men don't like to dance. And to see your girl out there being slung around by anybody, brother, Latino, whatever the case may be, didn't make you feel good. And the music was up tempo, okay. And it also got cross collateralized with the gay community, okay. That was one of the first musical genres that I could think of that was accepted by the gay community, okay. Funk may have been, but it wasn't as prevalent as disco. Disco, folks got to flame out, okay? Especially, I see you hologram EMC.
Good looking.
Disco, if you was in that lifestyle, you got to flame out, okay? There was clubs in Hollywood, man, that was all, they were discos most of the time. Brothers used to get a chance to go in them on maybe Tuesday or Thursday night. But on the weekends, then you had openly gay artists like Sylvester, and that shit was jamming, okay? In that era, that shit was jamming. And when you realize Sylvester looked like a woman, it would, people took that stuff, people took that personal. I had an issue with Prince in the beginning, okay?
Thank you, Tony. Good looking out. Love you all.
I had a problem with Prince in the beginning. I had to get used to Prince, man. But I didn't buy no T-shirts and say Prince sucks. I had to get used to this brother wearing these tight ass pants or these leggings and a G-string and a trench coat. But his music didn't come off as gay. I had to, it was like, okay, what? All right, he cool. Then he came out with the cheekless pants and kind of threw me for a loop. Then he was started messing with Vanity, and he back in my favor again. But disco got a bad rap. Like I said, some cats don't dance as well as others. Then it got attached to the gay community, and I think that's what really killed
it. Damn. Hey, Hologram EMC has a great question. He says, what was it like hearing brand new James Brown as it came out?
Oh, man, that was the shit, dude. James Brown dropped the record. It goes straight to, it was automatically going on the radio. Automatically. In some cases, heavy rotation. See, back then, they had a thing called payola. Okay? And see, James Brown, he promoted a lot of his own shows. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And he understood going to the radio station and hanging out with the DJs, and he made people feel comfortable. If you ever see his movie, he knew how to talk to them DJs. He knew how to hang out with them, make it feel comfortable. He would do drops. He would have them MC his shows. So even if he wasn't giving them cash money to play his record, he still had put them in his favor. So anytime he was in town, shit, it's going down. And they're going to blow him up so he can come to town and do some live shows. More money for the station. James Brown was an industry by himself. Man, James Brown had his own redemption stamp. They called the Brown stamp. Okay? Yes, look it up. James Brown was the first one of the first men to have his own, first black man to have his own helicopter. And down south in Macon, Georgia, he had his own stamp called the brown stamp. It was just like blue chip stamps we had here on the West Coast. When you went to certain stores, you got the brown stamp, and the brown stamp you can go redeem it and get discounts, all kind of stuff. Look it up.
Yep, that's crazy.
Yep.
Damn. Hey, James Brown, probably arguably, not even arguably, I would say, the most sampled person, especially in early hip hop. You know, it seems like every other hip hop song was a James Brown sample. Why do you think hip hop gravitated so much to James Brown? Do you think it's because their parents were listening to James Brown type shit, or why do you think it happened to be James Brown of all people?
Very simple. James Brown gave you the riff. James Brown music didn't change. So you got something to flow over. James Brown would give you 5 minutes of the same damn shit with some oohs and ahs and some crackling bread, short ribs. And you know, he would give you them grooves, and that was his thing. He gave you the groove. He would give you a riff. They call it a riff in the music. He would give you a riff, a funky beat, them horns, and when the samplers came around, all they had to do was change the arrangement. You know, one of my favorite songs by James Brown, dun 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 dun. All you need is a good, clean 4 bars. That's loopable. That's it. That's all you need. And he would do that. And all he would do maybe in some songs, hey, whoo, all right now. Okay, dun 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 dun. Anybody with any kind of sampling skills, grab that shit, loop it 4 or 5 times, put a horn on top of it, stack something else on top of it. You got a hit record. That's why
makes perfect sense.
That's why Zap was so sampled as well. Zap gave you loops. They gave you very loopable songs. In the beginning, think about look at go to YouTube, listen to any old school record from the 70s. The fucking intro is damn near a minute for they say the first words. A lot of, especially your early like Stephanie Mills, the Whispers, Zap, all of them. Zap's intros go, and that's where they come in at. Okay, and before he say anything, they always give you at least about 4 to 8 bars of clean ass groove. That's very sampleable. Okay, some of your best R&B soul songs from the 70s and 80s, they just groove. A lot of them would just be grooving before you even get to the first note from the singer to say anything. They just, and then or at the end they vamp out. They call it vamps. They vamp out. Okay, you know, and they just who was that? I think it's Ashford and Simpson was notorious for that shit. They would vamp out. James Brown would vamp out. So when you vamp is nothing but the same groove for the last 16 bars, maybe 32 bars. Okay, and not to mention he'll also give you part 1, part 2. Part 2 ain't got nothing on it, but it's just the flip, same thing over again. And he may do more instrumentals, have his band do more shit with some hits or whatever the case may be. That's more shit to sample.
You almost made it easy.
You made it easy for you. Made it super easy.
I love that. Hey, Art Chavez has a great question. Lonzo, who are some famous disco DJs back in the day? Did any of them transition into the rap scene?
Disco DJs? Yeah.
Thank you again, OG Steve. Love you, bro.
Let's love OG Steve. Yeah, Disco Lonzo. It's about one of, I think of. Frankie Crocker was a hot cat back then. He was out of New York. He ended up dying. But no, man, I can't think of. Understand this. In order to be a disco DJ, to transition into hip hop, you got to be my age, which is I'm 66. Yeah. Okay. lot of cats went to disco. They went back to the corporate world. A lot of them did, some of them may have, but a lot of them didn't transition into hip hop. I can't say that. I can't see that. Most of you think about it, man. It's only a handful of cats in the hip hop game my age. Me, Ice-T, Africa Bambaataa, Kool Herc, and a few people are coming up, cracking the big 6-0, but nobody was back there in 75 doing anything musical that's still doing it today. Most of them are not doing that, okay? Most of them have transitioned into something else.
Yeah. Hey, OG Steve has a comment, and then I'm going to parlay that into a question. He says, hey, Lonzo, after I met Sal Ublicello, I can't say his name, that used to own The Fever, he starred in Crush Groove, had a club that went from disco to hip-hop, salsa, and freestyle in the Bronx in the 80s. I want to parlay that into a question, Lonzo. It's 1984, I believe Crush Groove came out. It's one of my favorite movies to this day. I've seen it over 100 times. It's 1984. You're watching from your own eyes what's going on the West Coast with the hip-hop scene. And out comes this movie that took over, and it's focusing on East Coast hip-hop. What were your thoughts in 1984 watching Crush Groove?
Bullshit. I didn't too much care for it because 84, the Eve, Doodles, all that shit was cracking here on the West Coast for me, and we had a whole other narrative, man. It didn't register for me, hopping on cars and stuff like that. Was it? No. The club, us dancing, no. It was, and I keep telling, me and Dre had the same debate sometime. The West Coast story is totally different from the East Coast story. Totally different. And it may never be told correctly. I'm doing my best to tell it as best I can in my various documentaries. But it's almost like if anybody talking about Dre or Cube or Snoop, they don't want to hear it. Eve After Dark was rocking before Crush Groove, if I'm mistaken. And the transitions we did, all the things we did, it was a whole different mindset, Doc. And some of it we borrowed from New York, but then we add our own flavor to it. It's like, it's like chicken, shit. The Colonel got his recipe, Goldenberg got their recipe, Louisiana got their recipe, so Popeye's got his. It's all chicken, but you can tell it's all different.
Yep. Let's take it back to something that stood out to me in the documentary as well that I would love for you to elaborate more on. Talking about the Eve After Dark documentary that you can watch on Amazon Prime for $1.99. Talk to us, Alonzo, about the process from beginning to showtime, passing out flyers and making flyers and the whole flyer game and snatching flyers and putting flyers up and all that.
It's funny you should mention flyers. I just bought some flyers to pass out for my documentary. I still pass out flyers right to this day. Right? I don't have it on me right now. They're in my room, but I just changed my pants when I got home from this funeral. But there are flyers in my car right now. For us, flyers was the main source of advertising. We had posters also, though. Posters, we would plaster the city with posters. That's what would get your ass whooped. That's what the posters. 100 posters cost you $175. You got to spend another $15 on big nails to hang them with. Put gas in various cars for everybody to go out and hang posters. You got to feed your crew. You got to pay your crew. So to hang up 200 posters might cost you $300. Maybe $350. And for somebody to come out and take them down is a major sign of disrespect, and it qualifies you for a good ass whooping.
And that's 80s money, ladies and gentlemen, not 2024. Money.
Okay? And we did this every week. We hung posters every week. I had a standing order at the poster shop, Colby Poster, in downtown LA. We had our own custom colors. We had a standing order. Every Monday, Friday, I put my order in, I pick it up on Monday. Every Friday, We put an order in for the following week, and so I get them on Monday. We go out on Tuesday and Wednesday, hang them up. Now we would back the flyers up with hand-to-hand flyer. We would back the posters up with hand-to-hand flyer distribution. Take the van to the local high school. They got a football game, get out of school early, whatever the case may be, a school assembly. I got my team out there. We marketed. And we just created something that was it was direct marketing, and flyers was probably the best way for us. The posters were excellent. People drive by, they see them, there's something going on. But the flyers was an instant reminder. So between those two media sources, flyers and posters, we made Eve After Dark, Alpine Village, LA Convention Center, Queen Mary, the place to be. Then we would do radio time too, but the radio was like a backup to the backup to the backup. You know, we would do radio time maybe the night of or the day before. We were open on Thursday. On Friday, we started advertising on Thursday for Eve After Dark. And then a lot of stuff we would do, I would just buy reminder commercials. Lord, hey, don't forget tonight, Eve After Dark, open at 9 o'clock, 9 until 10 o'clock, 10 until 6. It's going down, Avalon El Segundo. That was stuff we did on a regular basis.
Avalon and El Segundo, Compton.
Eve After Dark, Harbor Freeway, El Segundo off-ramp, Avalon. That's Eve After Dark, Harbor Freeway, El Segundo off-ramp. That's Eve After Dark. Pattern after.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Of course, classic commercials from back in the day. That and Pussy Cow. We all know it. We all thought he was saying Pussy Cow.
Yeah, go see
Cal Worthington. This is Cal Worthington in the dog spot.
But Cal Worthington showed me something that's what made Eve After Dark successful. Also, I watched Cal Worthington. Right? When did Cal Worthington commercial start running?
I don't remember.
After midnight. You couldn't watch Elvira. You couldn't watch shit without a Cal Worthington commercials bombarding your ass. You know why? After midnight, the prices go down low as dirt. The lowest dirt. You could buy advertising because I call my rep. The same spot I'm paying $50 for before midnight, after midnight is $10. After midnight, the same spot that cost me $50, same exact spot, 1 minute later is $10. Guess who became the king of late night after hour spots? Yours truly. Because the Eve was open till 5, sometimes 4, 5, or 6. So I can drop multiple spots from about 12:01 till about 2. I'm pumping Eve After Dark. You leaving a concert? I'm pumping Eve After Dark. You leaving Uncle Jam's Army? I'm pumping Eve After Dark. $10, $20. I spend $20, $30 on the weekend, and that $30 might make me another $200 or $300. Oh, that's right. The Eve was open. That's right. Let's move by and see what's happening. And once people see the parking lot full, they're gonna come and see what's happening.
Stepping out the box.
Hey,
I love that.
You ain't got to reinvent the wheel. Just put some armor all on the ones that you see. Cal Worthington figured it out for me. He gave me the formula. I just took it and applied it to radio and Eve After Dark.
That is very smart. I love hearing shit like that. Hey, the J. Roos Theory has a question, and I'm gonna say it because I watched this myself, or I listened to it, I should say, and it was amazing. He says, Lonzo, did you see Damon Wilson's interview on Comedy Hype? He was exposing some things about Hollywood. Damon Wilson, who played Lamont from Sanford and Son.
I didn't see the whole thing. I did see
something. So good. I really enjoyed it personally. I thought it was really good. But hey, let's talk about Sanford and Son, man, because he was exposing a lot of things about the show back in the day. How big of a show was that when, back in your day? And did Red Fox ever make it through the Eve After Dark? Or did you guys ever come in close proximity?
I never told you that, but my connection to Sanford and Son, did I?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, you know what? My favorite character on Sanford and Son was Rollo. I love Rollo, okay? And I was going to El Camino College, and I had this beautiful girl in my class. We had an acting class, fine as you want to be. And I found out that was Rollo's daughter. I was on her ass. Okay. That became my girl. I had a chance to meet Rollo. Me and Rollo became very tight up until the time he died. Okay. I was one argument from being his son-in-law. Okay. And I was one argument. We couldn't get past that bullshit and it didn't work out. But he and I stayed tight the entire time. Even after she and I broke up, me and him still stayed tight. That was my racquetball buddy, man. Nathaniel Taylor was my racquetball buddy. I was a part of their family for quite some time. And we would sit there and talk about Sanford and Son and how at that time he was making $5,000 a week. He told me he was making $5,000 a week. But they never gave him any kind of clothes budget. Because I mean, you was always clean. What was your budget? It was my clothes, man. They didn't give him dressing rooms. They didn't give him none of the stuff. It came standard with anybody else. And he says, me and Dre did a show a few weeks ago after Norman Lear passed. And I was like, man, forget Norman Lee. No. I know things about him. And I'm not going to disrespect the man. But I know he played the same game everybody else played. He stole stuff from black folks, and he didn't treat black folks as equal when it came to his shows. And the whole Sanford and Son was stolen. It was actually called Steptoe and Son, a show out of England. Same concept, okay? But at that time, that whole show was Norman Lear was on a roll because he was the first one that had folks cussing. One of the first shows I ever heard George Jefferson say the word nigger was on Jefferson. Okay,
that was huge.
Fred Sanford said it. Okay, when my daddy loved Fred Sanford. He loved Sanford and Son because Sanford and Son was staged was supposed to be right here in Watts, and I went looking for that junkyard a couple times. It didn't exist, but being that my daddy was into used appliances, I remember going to junkyards as a kid. This is a true story. My daddy would we had junkyards. We literally had junkyards. People with water heaters. Hold on, let me fix my microphone. Got this little noise. Water heaters, windows, used toilets. My old man, he would go to a junkyard. One of my toilets in the house break down. We go down there and get a water heater. Go down and get a toilet, whatever the case may be. And I grew up going to junkyards, and I could relate to Sanford and Son, and my daddy could too, and to see all those characters, because you got to understand, everybody on Sanford and Son was at a club here locally before they got to Sanford and Son. Fred Sanford took all his friends out of the club and put them on TV with him. That's one thing I respect about him to no end. Richard and Esther. LaWanda Page, she was at the Five Torches on a regular basis. The two uncle, her husband Woodrow, the drunk, he was a comedian. Most of these acts were on Duto's records. So they was always at Duto's. Always. Fred Fox was always at Duto's. He was always at Duto's. The two old dudes, Grady had a what Grady's real name was Grady had a travel agency right there on Manchester and Crenshaw. If you go down Manchester and Crenshaw,
Whitman Mayo, thank you.
He had a travel agency right there on Manchester, across the street from the Big Lots. It's a white building. It's a Moby's cafe, about 2 doors down from the Moby's cafe, was his travel agency. And Skillet and Leroy, thank you, Marlon. Skillet and Leroy, and they was at Dudo's on a regular basis. Compton, LA had its own chitlin circuit. And they were all them guys. Bubba, Skillet, thank you. I need all them names. Sometimes this light make you erase your brain. But I remember growing up seeing these guys' names in this paper called we had a newspaper called The Scoop. The Scoop was the entertainment paper of South Central Los Angeles. Every club advertised in The Scoop. And the Scoop also had one thing that was really dope. They had the Scoop of the Week. Okay. In the back of the Scoop, they had the Scoop of the Week. That was the finest girl from the hood. Okay. And oh yeah, Scoop borrowed that from Jet. They had the Jet Beauty and Miss Scoop of the Week. And I knew a reason why I knew a couple of women back in the day that was Scoop of the Week. Knocked them off
wow.
too. Anyway, okay. That was to knock off a Scoop of the Week girl or a Jet girl, man. That was the ultimate thing back in the day. Yeah, shit. And I was running Eve After Dark. Scoop was the shit back then. You know, and to get the front page of the Scoop, man, it cost you a nice piece of change, man. You had to come with it. It was $400 back then. And clubs would fight. Literally, club owners would damn near fight. And my boy who owned the paper, he passed. But we would talk about how these clubs, these club owners would play games with him, and he wouldn't play with them. All right, man. Deadline is Wednesday at such a time. If you ain't got it, I'm gonna sell it to somebody else. And sure enough, boy, they get mad. Next time it came time to advertise, they pay him in advance. That's real talk. So all those acts that were Skid and Leroy, on Astor, everybody, Woodrow, all of them were on Dutone Records, I believe, and I know they all performed at Dudos. I was part of a circuit. So yes, that whole situation, I was very well connected to it. I met Red Fox one time. I met Skid and Leroy in passing. They were older back. They was off TV by then. They was damn near didn't know who they was. Not long me. But me and Rollo, that was my dude. I went to his funeral, spoke at his funeral, the whole 9 yards. That was my dude. He was my racquetball buddy. He was almost my father-in-law. One less argument, we'd have been. I bought the ring and everything. That was no bullshit.
Hey, but Red Fox was huge, right? And was he one that you had to listen to, away from the parents? Red Fox was pretty huge, right?
Red Fox had his own building over on La Brea. Big old Red Fox on the side of the building. He was like that, dude. It was like that. I mean, when he was at his peak, dude, he was no joke. I remember seeing Red Fox in Vegas. Red Fox, me and my girl would go to Vegas. We go see Red. That's all. Only show I really went to go see was Red Fox, and Red Fox was clean as a chitlin. Had on this beautiful medallion with a red ruby fox in the middle of it, gold chain, tuxedo, with a turtleneck on. And guess who wears his shit the same way right to this day? You very seldom see me with a tie on. I got gangs of turtlenecks and gangs of mock turtlenecks, so my medallion can hang. And I got it from Red Fox. No bullshit.
Love that.
That's no bullshit.
Legend, man, legend.
He was a very influential dude. And Red Fox said something one time. He said, Red, you've been telling the same jokes for the past 20 years. He said, but I tell them for a different crowd every night.
That's it.
But Red Fox didn't really cuss. Red Fox.
Okay. I don't know why I have that image in me that he cussed. I don't know why.
He was dirty, but he didn't cuss. He would say he was on his album covers. He'd have an album cover called "Wash Your Ass." He'd have a picture of a donkey up there. Okay, he wasn't like Dolomite. He had one joke about this soap called Fug. Okay, it was called Fugg, and he talk about this soap called Fug. At the end of the night, when you get through, go fug yourself. Okay, and it's close, but it ain't what you thought it was. He was the master of that shit, man. He was a master.
Damn. Oh, love that. I love talking that old stuff, man.
That's why I love Eddie Murphy when he brought all them cats together, man. He brought Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Robin Harris, his
Harlem
brother,
Nights,
all these comedians, Della Reese for that movie, for his movie, Harlem Nights. I just watched it the other day, just for the hell of it.
Always.
So that's the kind of love. Red Fox, Eddie Murphy. That's the kind of shit I don't see more I don't see more young people doing. Man, look out for the folks that you looked at. These brothers paved your way. Why don't you do something for them to show them some love, man? You know, what's the big deal? You claim all this money you got, but you ain't looking out for nobody, man. Eddie Murphy looked out for everybody. He went back and grabbed old man John Amos, threw him in his movies. Jet, who else he grabbed? He got John Amos, Arsenio, of course. I mean, he had all kind of cats working with him. Eddie was good. He's good for that. You know, and so was and I think he probably got it from Red Fox. Man, time is up already. God damn.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it, Lonzo. Always a pleasure, man. Any last words?
Hey, folks, check out the documentary. It's on Amazon. It's blowing up. Folks are loving it. I'm getting nothing but good responses from it. People have been texting me. People who know me been texting me, telling me how much they love it and they appreciate it. Well, that ain't it though. I got another one coming too, boy. We in post production on the other one, N.W.A. Not Without Lonzo. It should be out. It should be finished. Hopefully end of this month. We've been shooting. We shot all through the holidays, and I got one person. I'm waiting to shoot one of Dre's exes, and she just got sick on this, doc. One of Dre's ex. She actually saw Straight Outta Compton. I hadn't talked to this girl in 20 years. She saw Straight Outta Compton and was so pissed at how they portrayed me in Straight Outta Compton. She knew me. She knew Dre. She knew everybody. She was my group, my Fresh Flesh. And she called me pissed off. I need to say something. I need to come on your podcast. I got something better than that. I want you to come on, be on my documentary. She said, I'm coming. And she messed around and caught the flu. So I'm waiting. She's my last interview, and it's going down.
Love it, man. Hit him with that rap.
All right, folks. For those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer until he got cold. On the eve after dark, 50-yard line Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you'll ever know. Just remember that Lonzo, N.W.A, stands for Not Without Lonzo, folks. Peace. I fuck it up every week. I'm going to get it right.